It took me over 45 years to realize what I'm about to share with you in just 16 minutes. For years, I followed the plan, the traditional model: study hard, work harder, buy a house, put a little money into savings, and wait for that long-awaited retirement. But you know what nobody tells you? That system is broken, and it was designed to keep you running in circles. The truth is, no matter how much you sacrifice, the math never adds up. Inflation eats away at your money, bills pile up, and financial freedom feels like a prize meant only for others. But listen closely. Just because you were taught to survive doesn't mean you can't learn to thrive. What took me 45 years to understand, you can absorb in 7 minutes if you keep your ears and your heart open. And I'll be honest with you, it won't be comfortable, because everything you believe about money, failure, success, and judgment will be challenged. But in place of that discomfort, something bigger is born: the chance to take control, the chance to build real, sustainable wealth. If you're tired of living on autopilot, afraid to try, afraid to fail, afraid of what others might think, this video was made for you. And if you stick with me till the end, you might just realize that the only thing standing between you and financial independence is a new mindset. You're not afraid of failing. You're afraid of being seen failing. It's funny. A lot of people come to me and say they're afraid of starting a business, changing careers, or even posting that first video online. But the real fear isn't failure itself. It's the fear of being watched, the fear of looking foolish, of becoming the punchline in someone else's story. Somehow, that judgment feels heavier than the fall. But here's the truth. Most of the time, no one's even paying attention. Think about it. Do you remember what your classmate tried to do 8 years ago that didn't work out? Probably not. And that's because you've been busy, paying bills, trying to buy a house, dealing with inflation, and watching your savings lose value sitting in the bank. Everyone's dealing with their own chaos. This broken system teaches us to fear mistakes, but no one ever teaches us how to fail with wisdom and grace. So here's the question that changes everything. What would you do if no one was watching? If judgment didn't exist, only effort? Maybe you would have started that YouTube channel, or made your first investment, or walked away from that paycheck-to-paycheck job that's keeping you stuck. Truth is, financial freedom often starts when you stop waiting for permission to win. And that's where something deeper begins to shift. Those who judge don't matter, and those who matter don't judge. Here's something that takes a while to really understand, but once you do, it changes everything. The people who truly care about you, who are rooting for you, they're not going to laugh when you stumble. And those who do, they don't pay your bills, they're not helping you fight inflation, and they're definitely not building wealth with you. In other words, they don't matter. We grow up thinking we need everyone's approval, when really, we just need courage and a healthy financial mindset. You want to change the game? Stop being the critic, and start being an encourager. When you cheer on someone else's effort, a friend launching a business, a young person breaking out of the old mold, you start believing people will cheer for you too. It's like planting the kind of energy you want to receive. If you want financial freedom, start by being free enough to support others. That's building wealth too, the kind that multiplies. I remember a woman who sold cakes from her garage. People mocked her at first, but one neighbor kept praising her work, sharing it online. 2 years later, she opened her own bakery, invested in income-generating assets, and now lives off passive income that gives her true financial security. Now tell me, what if that neighbor had chosen to criticize instead of support? And this leads us into something even deeper. Something most people don't realize is quietly sabotaging their growth. We fear judgment because we judge others. Strange, right? But often, our fear of being judged comes from inside us. The truth is, if you're constantly pointing fingers, deep down you start to worry that someone's pointing them right back at you. It's not evil. It's just human nature, like an emotional echo. When you spend your life criticizing others, their decision not to buy a house, their failed business, or their risky investments, You plant the fear of being judged the same way. I once met an incredible artist, the kind whose paintings could shake your soul, but he never posted a single piece. What he did love doing, though, was writing daily reviews, critiquing restaurants, stores, businesses. He judged everything, and without realizing it, he was feeding a fear of being judged too. His money sat idle. His opportunities paused. He wouldn't invest in himself or his work or any asset. His fear held the flow hostage. And that's the danger. Young people need to understand, judgment is a mirror, not a window. If you want financial security and independence, it starts with emotional self-awareness. Swap the critical eye for a learning mindset. Trade fear for curiosity. Instead of thinking, what they don't like it, try asking, what could I learn if I try? Because once you do that, failure becomes just another step toward building real wealth. Winners fail more than losers ever try. Here's the thing. People have a completely distorted view of success. They think millionaires got it right on the first try, that everything just clicked from day one. But that's the biggest lie the broken system ever sold you. The truth? The most successful people have failed so many times, they've lost count. They've failed more than most people ever dare to try. That's the real difference between those who build wealth and those who just dream about it. I knew a businessman who went bankrupt 3 times before building the company that made him financially independent. He failed at running a restaurant, a startup, and a franchise. But instead of giving up, he treated each failure as an investment, like buying long-term assets that appreciate with time. That's financial mindset. While others kept their money sitting still in savings, he bet on his ability to learn from failure. Today, he's free, and he teaches others how to build that freedom too. The point is simple. While some are busy avoiding mistakes, winners are busy learning from them. That's the difference between saving and multiplying wealth, between fear and calculated risk. And here's the twist. The more you fail and get back up, the stronger you become. But that strength isn't built by avoiding the fall. It's built by going through it, which leads us to something most people completely misunderstand about growth. Failing is like going to gym. Only those who train get stronger. Let's be honest. You don't build muscle just by watching workout videos. And you won't build resilience just by reading about success. Strength is built in practice. In the fall, in that awkward, painful moment when your plan didn't work, but you got up anyway. Failure is a workout. It leaves you sore, but more prepared. And that applies to both your physical health and your financial health. No one reaches financial freedom without learning how to fail smart and fast. Some people wait until everything's perfect before they act. They want to invest only when they understand everything about assets and liabilities. They want to launch a business only when there's zero risk. But here's the truth. That moment never comes. The secret is starting with awareness and adjusting along the way. Start small. Sell baked goods, thrifted clothes, or even a digital product. Test, fail, and learn. That's real financial education. Far more powerful than theory alone. And the more you avoid failure, the more your brain gets trained to avoid wealth building altogether. Time keeps ticking. Your money sits still. Inflation eats away your purchasing power. And your financial security drifts further away. But there's another path, a bolder, lighter, yet more rewarding one. The kind that true entrepreneurs know by heart. Real entrepreneurs don't wait for guarantees. Let me be clear. If you're waiting for everything to be perfectly aligned before taking action, you'll be waiting forever. The traditional model taught us to only take a step when everything feels 100% secure. But too much security often turns into a cage. Real entrepreneurs, the ones who build wealth, who reach financial freedom, know there's no such thing as a perfect moment. They bet on themselves. They know their greatest asset is their ability to adapt. It's not about jumping blindly. It's about taking calculated risks. Testing, measuring, adjusting. You don't have to quit your job tomorrow. Start something on the side. Start small. Maybe invest $20 or $30 a month in something safe. Real estate funds, government bonds, solid dividend stocks like Johnson & Johnson, Procter & Gamble, or Coca-Cola. That's smart money. It's planting before you harvest. And each step brings you closer to true financial mobility. The real problem is many people are waiting for some invisible permission, a sign from the universe, a push from the government, one more diploma. But those truly committed to financial independence don't wait for the boat to pass. They build their own paddle. And once you step into that mindset, you realize fear was never a problem. The problem was what you chose to imagine about it. Worry is a wasted use of your imagination. Picture this. You got a powerful tool, your mind, and instead of using it to build, you use it to destroy. That's what happens when you live in worry. People spend hours imagining everything that could go wrong, when they could be designing what could go right. Worry is like planting thorns and expecting to harvest grapes. Your brain doesn't know the difference between what's real and what's vividly imagined. So if all you imagine is disaster, that's exactly what you'll experience. I had a friend who wanted to start investing. He studied for weeks, compared stocks, read reports, but never put in a single dollar. Fear of failing, fear of losing. And all that time, his money just sat there, losing value to inflation. Until one day I told him, "You're using your financial intelligence to create panic instead of a plan." The next day, he started small, bought shares in utility companies, reliable dividend payers. The shift wasn't technical, it was mental, just like riding a motorcycle or snowboarding. You steer where you look. If you look at the trees, you crash. If you look at the open space, you glide. Focus determines direction. And the same mind that creates fear can create your most powerful vision. But to do that, you need to understand, visualization isn't just optimism. It's a strategy for building wealth. Visualize success in vivid detail. Most people do dream, but they dream small, vague, and blurry. And that's the problem. Dreams without clarity fade like smoke. Real wealth builders see the future clearly. They see the numbers of their retirement plan. They can taste financial freedom. They visualize their investment balance, their house keys, and that family vacation they can pay for up front. This isn't wishful thinking. It's mental programming. What you visualize with intensity, your brain treats as a goal. Here's a simple technique I love to teach. Grab a notebook and write, "What will my life look like in 5 years with full financial independence?" Then describe it like you're filming a scene. What time you wake up, where you live, what car you drive, how much your passive income pays you each month, who you're working with, or if you're even working at all. Do this often. It rewires your financial mindset. You start acting in alignment with the life you see, and the invisible starts to take shape. Visualization isn't just dreaming, it's preparing the ground. And here's the beautiful part. If you're capable of imagining failure so vividly, then you're also capable of imagining success with the same power. In fact, this brings us to one final shift, the one question that can completely redefine your future. What if, instead of failing, you're the one who wins? This is a turning point. While most people spend their lives asking, "What if I fail?" the ones who succeed flip the question, "What if I win?" That one change in perspective transforms your behavior, your decisions, your courage. Fear paralyzes, but the possibility of success, that moves mountains. And if you take this question seriously, it might be the difference between one more year of doubt or your very first year truly winning. Think about it. Why not you? Why can't your name be on the list of people who achieved financial independence? Why couldn't you be the one who broke out of the broken system, ditched traditional retirement, and built your own stream of passive income? Nothing is stopping you, except the story you keep repeating to yourself. And if you've come this far, it's not because you need another course. It's because you're ready for a decision, a new question. So the next time fear shows up, answer boldly. What if it works? What if the business takes off? What if the investment grows? What if that simple idea changes your family's future forever? That answer could be the beginning of a new life, a life where you finally take the wheel. Because in the end, those who keep playing the game can't lose. And if you stay with me now, I'll show you why it took me 45 years to learn something that might take you only 7 minutes to understand. Now that you've heard all of this, let me ask you something real. Are you going to keep waiting? Another year? Another crisis? Another person's approval? Or are you finally going to start building your own financial freedom? For real this time? Because this is no longer about if it'll work. It's about when you'll finally commit. Retirement, passive income, smart investments, financial independence. None of that is reserved for the lucky few. It's for those who decide to stop playing by the old, broken rules. So, what's holding you back from taking the first step today? Afraid to fail? Everyone fails. Afraid of judgment? People will talk no matter what. The difference is you get to choose whether they talk about you trying or about you doing nothing. Now is the time to act. Start learning. Read books like Rich Dad, Poor Dad, The Millionaire Mind, or The Richest Man in Babylon. Start small, but start today. Time is your greatest asset and also your greatest liability if you waste it. And if this video made you think, reflect, or feel something, then this is already the beginning of your transformation. Subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications, and share this message with someone who needs a wake-up call. Because together, we can build a new reality, one that's wealthier, wiser, and above all, freer.